All right, let's jump right in. We're about to unpack a really simple, timeless story, but it reveals this huge blind spot most of us have in our day-to-day lives. It's all about our tendency to just completely miss the very things that are holding us up.
So, I want to start with a question, just for you. Take a second and really think about it. What is supporting your life right now that you never actually thank? You know, what's giving you comfort or stability or just a bit of relief that you haven't even really noticed? Just keep that question in the back of your mind as we go through this.
Okay, so our story kicks off with a tree. And not just any tree, a big, ancient, sprawling plane tree. Now, to some people, this tree was, well, totally useless. But it turns out to be the perfect stage for a really powerful lesson, one that comes to us from way, way back. So, picture this. A couple of travelers, totally exhausted, baking in the hot sun. They finally find this huge tree and collapse under its branches for some shade. Now, you'd think the first thing they'd say is, "Ah, thank goodness," right? Nope. Instead, one of them looks up and complains, saying something like, "Man, this tree is completely useless. It doesn't even have any fruit we can eat."
Yeah, so that's the setup. It's a scorcher of a day. These two guys are desperate for a break from the heat, and they find it. They're lying there in the cool shade of this massive tree. I mean, this tree is literally saving them from misery at that moment.
And then, get this, the tree talks back. Can you even imagine the shock? It just calls them out, right then and there. You ungrateful people. The tree basically points out how ridiculous they're being. They're sitting there, enjoying the life-saving shade it provides, while calling it useless. It's just a total takedown of their incredible blindness. Now, this story isn't really about a talking tree, is it? It's a sharp look at a very specific human flaw, the blindness of ingratitude. You know, our brains are kind of wired to notice what's wrong, to see the missing fruit instead of the shade that's already there. So let's dig into what was actually going on in these travelers' heads. And here's the core problem, what you could call a utilitarian obsession. It's a fancy way of saying the travelers were totally fixated on what the tree produced, a tangible thing like fruit. And because of that, they completely ignored what the tree provided: shade, comfort, safety. They decided the tree's support didn't count because they couldn't eat it. And this really shows the two different ways of looking at it, side by side. For the travelers, value equals a tangible output, like fruit. The result? They complain. But the tree's reality is that its value comes from foundational support, the shade. And the result of that? Life-sustaining relief. It's a total mismatch in perspective. And that's the heart of the whole issue.
But look, this isn't just some old fable. This exact same kind of blindness, this obsession with fruit over shade, it shows up all over the place in our own lives today. So, where is your life's hidden shade?
I mean, think about it for a second. We complain about a tiny leak in the faucet, but we completely forget about the giant, solid roof over our heads that's keeping us safe and dry. Or maybe we criticize a meal someone made for us because it's not our favorite, ignoring the care that went into it. And at work, we might complain about some small, annoying rule while taking the stability of that paycheck completely for granted. We've all been the traveler in that story.
These are such common traps to fall into, right? We zoom in on the tiny inconvenience and just ignore the huge comfort it's a part of. We start to think that things that are always there, like a steady job or a safe home, just happen, that they don't take any effort to exist. And that's really what entitlement is, isn't it? It just clouds our ability to see what's actually there.
Okay, so let's zoom the camera out for a minute. This isn't just about our personal lives. This exact same thing happens on a huge societal scale. We are all, right now, living under the shade of much, much bigger plane trees. Just think about it. The clean water that comes out of your faucet, the roads you use every day, the fact that, for the most part, we live in peace and can go about our business. These are gigantic, incredibly complex systems that are always there, giving us foundational support. But we usually only notice them when something goes wrong. And that's when we start complaining about how useless they are without ever stopping to think about the incredible value they provide every single day. So if this is something we're all susceptible to, what do we do about it? How can we fight this blindness? How do we train ourselves to actually see the shade we're standing in? Well, the Fable actually gives us a pretty clear roadmap.
This is really the practical toolkit. It's about making a conscious choice. It means you have to actively look for those supports you usually ignore. You have to acknowledge the simple things. The fact that a boring day with no drama is actually a huge blessing. The real trick is to change how you define value. It's not just about the fruit, it's about the function. And sometimes it's as simple as just pausing for a second to thank whatever or whoever is giving you that relief.
This is such a great way to put it. It just perfectly sums up the whole story, doesn't it? Entitlement is that state of mind where you're busy complaining about the leaves on the ground and you don't even notice the massive, cool shade you're standing in.
And that brings us right back to where we started, back to you. Because right now, in this very moment, you are absolutely resting in a cooling shadow. You're benefiting from countless things that are supporting you. So the only question is, what are your first words going to be? Are you going to complain about the leaves, or are you going to say thank you?